Jannah. This hadith is a famous hadith, and the Prophet ﷺ says it's an authentic chain of narration narrated in the collection of Imam Muslim, and the Prophet ﷺ says this, that anyone, any person, any Muslim prays 12 rak'at every day, optional, outside of the obligatory rak'at that we all know, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will build a house for him, or a home, a domicile in Jannah. And when you have a home in Jannah, you'll go to it. That's basically what it means, right? This is what it means. He's not going to, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, build a house for you over there and you're going to go somewhere else. This is where you're going to go, basically. This is what it means. So, and I like this hadith because I picked, this hadith has been narrated in multiple ways, different narrations. Some of it is longer, and there's more explanation to which 12 rak'at are these. But I like this one because this is mujmal, this is like a general. The Prophet ﷺ in this hadith did not tell you which or when to pray them. It left it open. And I like that. In a different hadith, he says, and it continues, that it's 2 rak'at before Fajr, 4 before Asr, 4 before Dhuhr, and 2 after Dhuhr, and then 2 after Maghrib and 2 after Isha, basically. If you do the math, this is 12. And this is what Hanafiya, this is what the Hanafi madhab has considered to be the explanation of this hadith, because they depended on the other narration that this is the explanation of it. And these are the ones that they believe is a sunnah al-mu'akkada, which is a confirmed sunnah. Now, other madhab, other schools of jurisprudence, they say, no, they believe in those 12, obviously, but they say, no, it's any other 12. So if you miss all of these during the day, say, and you do 12 at night, it counts. This is what they say. And I like this, and the reason why I mentioned this one narration, because it leaves it open for you. I'm not going to, yes, these are the ones that are sunnah mu'akkada. Most of us pray those 12 at these certain times, but I like how it's open. Now, when you say sunnah mu'akkada, this is the word. Most people understand it intuitively what it means to sunnah mu'akkada, but I would like to explain it. Sunnah mu'akkada means something that the Prophet ﷺ always did. Rarely he broke that rule. So let's say he prayed 4 before Dhuhr, right? Maybe once a year he left it. Once a year, maybe, right? Even in traveling and all that, he used to do it. Let's say, right? Once. And the reason why he missed it that one time on purpose, or he was busy, is to show you that it's not an obligation, right? To show you, to prove to the scholars that he left it once, so it's not an obligation. Sometimes you can miss it, right? So that's sunnah mu'akkada. And you don't have to believe that it's an obligation, but when it comes to practice, you do it. This is what sunnah mu'akkada is. It means you do it. You don't believe it's an obligation, but you practice as if it is an obligation. On the other hand, there's sunnah, but it's not mu'akkada. It's a little bit weaker. So the Prophet ﷺ did it a couple of times and left it a couple of times. So 50% of the time. That's a weaker strength of. And scholars, what they do with this type, the second type, they practice it to be on the safe side. A lot of you hear this, and they say, "Well, sunnah is not really sunnah mu'akkada, so I'm just going to leave it." No, this is not what scholars do. They actually practice it to be on the safe side. They don't pick the strong sunnah and leave the weak one. No, they do everything. The first one, they're more firm on it, and the second one, they hear it and it makes sense and they like it. They practice it to be on the safe side. Because this is because it's just the way it reached you. There might be a little bit of weakness in the chain of narration, so that's why they consider it as weaker than the other one. But in reality, to you, it's something that the Prophet ﷺ did, and this is what we do. So I like this hadith, and I like this very narration because it leaves it open to you. Leaves it open. So there's really these so. For someone who go like a regular mosque attending person should never leave these 12 rak'at. Wallah, should never. someone who's new to Islam, you're not going to flood them with these extra salawat. No. Just let them do the basics now, right? But someone who shows up, no, it's not acceptable that you do dhuhr and you go home, or you do Isha and you never pray anything after that. No, you got to do it a little bit, and there's benefit there. But the Prophet ﷺ in another hadith says, "Ma zala hadith Qudsi." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, said, "Ma zala abdi yataqarrabu ilayya bin nawafil." That my servant will continue to perform nawafil, the extra. That I didn't ask him to do it 100%. It's not an obligation, but he likes doing it. He does it because he likes it, because he likes standing in front of me, and he keeps doing that until he falls into my love, and then I love him. And once Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you, that's it. You're good. And then you're not. There's no concern. I'm not concerned about you anymore. I hope this was of benefit. يروي الإمام مسلم في صحيحه بسند صحيح عن أم حبيبة رملة بنت أبي سفيان رضي الله تعالى عنهما وأرضاهما قالت سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول ما من عبد مسلم يصلي لله كل يوم 12 ركعة تطوعا دون الفريضة إلا بنى الله له بيتا في الجنة أو قالت بني له بيت في الجنة. صدق رسول الله. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Do we have قيام tonight?